Well, back then, we really didn't have organized racing per se. We used to race at the tennis courts, which was in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was down along Lake Erie. And we'd go down there on a Sunday or Saturday, and we'd drag race. So after that, it became a little more popular when California had some drag races going on, and we also got to our first track was like Dragway 42, and that's when early on, that's where Chris Karamessinis came, and Connie Coletta, and Don Gartlett's, and all of them would come down to Dragway 42. So I got to see all the original people that became very well known. I personally had 57 Chevy was my first drag racing car, and which is still my love of cars. And I also then went into Willys and used to race gas coupe and sedan, D-gas. And first 2 years we went to the Nationals. The first Nationals in 1960 was in Indianapolis, and we won that in our D-gas class. And in '61 we also won D-gas, or C-gas, we won that year. Why gaskets? Why I went into that was, one reason was my cars, we built our headers back then, and we found out we were leaking exhaust out of between the block and the headers, because when you made your headers back then, they were not exactly flat. And we'd have a regular standard General Motors gaskets, and they would blow out right away. And we found that when we put this special material in, it was asbestos, that we set a lot of records in our class, and we were a lot faster than a lot of the people that were trying to race us. So, and my wife's family back then had a gasket company that they made gaskets for the government. So I had some gaskets hand cut out of the material, and that's what started it. And then I decided, when people saw what I was doing, they said, could I have a set of those gaskets? So I'd bring some along in my trunk of my car, and I'd give them away. And then eventually I sold them for like $1 a set. And that's what started the gasket company. When I started to expand, it was that the people were starting to buy the gaskets, and I decided that if I'd put them in a package, and the speed shop that I went to said, you know, if you put them in a bag, I'll hang them up on the wall and we'll sell them. And that's when I came up with the idea of packaging those gaskets. And I came home one day and I was at an auto parts store, and I said, geez, when I see people come in and ask for somebody, they ask for Mr. Harris or Mr. Who. And I said, when they come in, why not have our gaskets named Mr. Gasket? I said, when they come in, they'll ask for Mr. Gasket. And that's how the name started. Well, throughout the years, when I first started, I started in 1964 under the name of Speed Specialties. And then in '65, I changed it to Mr. Gasket. And we went public in 1969, and I sold the company out in 1970. So it was a pretty fast pace that we were going at. And when I sold out in 1970 to W.R. Grace, I had a 10-year non-compete clause, and I had to stay out of the business for 10 years. So when the 10 years was over, I talked to one of my accounting people, and I said, I'd like to go back in the business, but I said, I don't want to be fighting W.R. Grace's attorneys if I go back into this business. And he said, well, I'll check on that for you. So they called, and I get a call back in about a week, and they said, how would you like to buy your old company back? And so I almost fell off my chair, and I said, geez, I don't mind buying it back, but I'm not going to give back the $12 million that they gave me for it. And they said, no, it won't be that. So it ended up that I bought the company back for $3 million in 1981. And from there, we went public again in 1983. And I was the first company in the United States to go public with the same company, the same people, and the same type of business twice.